Welcome back to XCOM. So, let's get into it. I don't remember exactly where we were last time, I just remember we had very big loss. Because the abduction ship was a lot more armed than I was expecting. Go. Another abductor. I could try fighting against it. After I don't really have much to lose. Where were they going? Europe. Another one. Has some event happened that's just started triggering the abductions? Guessing I did a certain research or have passed a certain game time or something. Made them start happening. Oh, they've landed. Multiple tanks. No, body armor yet. Right, yeah, body armor. What's my... Oh, my budget's too low to be making that. Yeah. I get to send out Sky Range now. Leave them following until they get over land. Ooh, if they land in the tundra, that would be a good place. Yep. Because that's very open ground. Good. Yeah, that's quite an ideal training environment. Why are they taking so long to... They're not taking off. Yeah, they're low on fuel. Not really anywhere else I can send people from. East Asia will take a while, but I'll try sending some interceptors from there. Anyway, I'll get this guy to wait an hour just to make sure that's day. Okay, good. Still got interceptors waiting there. This is like my one survivor. What's P-stir? Oh, that must be psionics. Right. Wonder if that's like a defensive score or just an offensive one. I'm not really sure how the psionics work. At least these two rocket launcher guys have decently high scores, so if it is a defensive thing, they won't be mind controlled, and this guy's a rifleman. Or, no, actually, there'll be an assault trooper, because assault troopers are the ones who can do the least crowd damage. So, you know, riflemen, they can auto fire. And the rocket launchers have splash damage, but the assault troopers can only really fire 1 or 2 shots in a turn, which is less deadly. But still, I think I'll probably just ditch this guy on the next mission, because I don't want to have someone that much of a liability on the team. Sorry that this rearming's taking so long, it's just I'm needing to give everyone a new loadout, pretty much. Water? Oh, how fancy. Where be thine UFO? Not here. Do like spawning in the corner of the map. So it means you have to spread your people out less. Ah. Also good to get an early contact, but not the moment you walk out the door. Because if you get one then, you're probably dead. Set them there, they'll be able to fire across this big lake. Though by the looks of it, they can't do an aim shot. Like, at all. They're quite overweight. we go. Happy that there aren't any other aliens within range yet. So it means I don't have to keep people in the landing craft for safety, as I would if there were other aliens around. It's weird how they do that. They go off to the side rather than just going straight. That's a lot of aliens. I don't know how big the map is, but my guess is that the UFO would be over this way, not up here. So maybe I'll move my rocket troopers over here. This is a smooth deployment so far. Oh, they all just like appeared at the same time. That's annoying. Still, they're only a rifleman. I don't think I'll be able to get both of them in one rocket shot. Looks like I can't get even one of them in a rocket shot. There we go. You know, I think in the future I will completely refrain from snapshots with the rocket launcher, because if I remember correctly, that's well over half of my friendly fire incidents have been rocket launchers being misaimed. Yeah. Nice. I'm gonna In this current session I'm planning to record 2 episodes, which will hopefully, there's the UFO. It will, hopefully allow me to remember things better between the episodes. Because that's one thing I keep making, like, strategic mistakes. Just because I can't remember what I've been doing previously. Because I basically just film these once a week. As most other games I'd play like daily or at least every 2 days. So I can remember better. Or with like some Civ games, I'll just play through an entire campaign in one session. Although I prefer to play Civ on marathons, so usually don't. That is one thing I'd be curious as to what portion of people play, or I now play Civ 5 rather than Civ 6. I don't like Civ 6. But I'd be curious as to what portion of people play Civ 5 on the longer lengths rather than the standard or the shorter. Ooh, reaction fire. They didn't die from that. Superman. Anyway, yeah, I'd be curious as to how many people play on the longer things, because I prefer the longer things, because I think it makes how military plays out better, because, you know, effectively it slows down all your cities and production technology and stuff. Actually, I'll get rifleman. It slows down all of that stuff to what I feel is more in line with the speed of your soldiers. Like, you know, it can take, once you've declared war, on the higher speeds, you could be in like a whole new era by the time your soldiers even get to cross the border. But on marathon, I feel the timing is better. And yeah, it allows your military to do more in the time that your cities are doing the same stuff. Which is good. Ooh. Suppose that's from the, being shot down. Big gaping hole, but usually don't see holes in the walls, they're usually in the, roof. I thought I'd look at there, because maybe there's, other aliens nearby that'll get killed. Nope. Although that did look like it destroyed some loot. Move my tank back. Getting my people here, I'm hoping they'll, reaction fire if someone walks out. Oop. Ah. I'll just rock it, because I'm not confident that... No, actually, I will. I will get my infantry. I was thinking I'm not confident that the infantry will hit, but, like, they have more shots than the rocket launcher do, so... may as well go with the cheaper option first. Oop. That was a misclick. There we go. I'm guessing a lot of the aliens are dead from the crash, because there's a lot less activity than last time, which I'm quite glad about. Right on the mark. Good work for a rookie. Good work for anyone, actually. Half of my high rank people wouldn't hit that shot in like the... Oh, that was my rocket launcher. Yeah, I'm moving both forward. Yeah, half my high ranking people wouldn't have hit that shot in like the 10 seconds before 5 aliens dogpile onto them. Yeah, this is quite a good training environment though, because everyone can just kind of focus fire on one target when they come out. Whereas you can't, and because the Sky Ranger's in one corner, that makes it doubly easy because everyone sticks together on the way to UFO. You can't really branch out. And there's not as much risk of sticking together because you can see aliens from further away. They don't have corners to hide around, so they can't come out of nowhere and throw a grenade into you. But yes, this is a very good training environment. I think if I'm ever given the opportunity in the future, I will try and down UFOs over the Arctic. Because this is even better than like desert training environment, which is what I usually aim for, because like the desert still has cactuses and stuff, if I remember right, and pretty significant sand dunes that they can hide behind, whereas here these little snow slopes are smaller. But yeah, this is an ideal training environment. It's weird how I don't see the movement. I'm guessing it happens that I can see them on my turn, but I don't see the movement. It's if they like came out of the darkness and just ended on that tower, whereas maybe I'd only see the movement if they moved when they were in my visible thing. That seems like a bug or an oversight, but I'm guessing that's how it works. I'll just use my rocket launcher to save some time. Yep. Set people up here for action fire. Hopefully someone walks out. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit tired. I'm not. Oh right. I'm not sick or anything. It's just the end of the day, and I'm really not sure why. But I can hear my voice kind of vibrating more than it normally does. Yeah. Sorry if I sound different, because I don't know if I do or not. But I think I might. Sounds like more activity. Yeah, set people up for action fire again, but further forward. That's a very important chair. They get a real nice view of a wall. Is that where, like, the commander sits or something? And that's the naughty corner. Actually, no, it would be a bad idea to set someone up there. So now, if someone comes out, they will be the only one to reaction fire, and they will fire a rocket right into those people. Same with this guy. Because considering the sick sense of humour that comes out of XCOM, that's what would be likely to happen. Same with this tank. We don't they just drive over the crack? Guessing there's probably people on like the second floor that just haven't worked their way down yet. Yep. They hopping? No, they're not. Shit. Aliens with functional reaction fire. Sight to behold. Finally. Now I need to move more people forward for reaction fire. I think I'll move these guys and just... I'll hope that that guy doesn't try and fire through them. They take that weird route. I don't know. No, that's the door. Got like an airlock. I suppose this UFO looks like a very easy to breach design. Like more so than the freighter, for instance. Because the freighter is really annoying. It's got like 2 lifts in positions that make it very common in my experience for an alien to come down one and catch your people behind the back. Whereas this one, it looks like you can do the UFO mostly linearly. I don't know how the doors would be, but you'd come in here, like clear one room at a time. I guess there'd probably be a door there, door there, door there, but to have some people with reaction fire there, people breaching there, then they'd come back out and go to the top floor. It's quite simple compared to the freighter or like an alien base or something. Still no aliens. laser pistols out in case there's someone in that room. So breach it next turn. What the hell did they come from? An alien. Yeah. Where'd they come from? They must have been like hiding there or something. Weird. That's a bit annoying. No one in there. That was a misclick. So it would be good this game they well, rather their Open XCOM mod, I know it has a feature where you can like confirm your moves, but you have to like double click for that, and I find that inconvenient. Say, what would be good is if you had to hold down your mouse for a certain time, like maybe a second, half a second, where you couldn't just like have a little finger twitch. Yeah. Couldn't have a twitch in the trigger finger. That causes people to move or fire in the wrong place or something. So that's why I keep misclicking. It's just as I'm moving my mouse, my hand clenches a little. Yeah, it would be good if there was a certain time, like charge up, to do your actions, rather than having to double click. Especially because there's some weird problem with my mouse. It seems to double click a lot when I single click. Guess it's kind of like switch bounce, probably. But yeah, that means that even if I had the confirm move thing on, it would just do the move instantly a lot of the time anyway. Even if I only click the mouse once. Probably some aliens over there. Big empty space. That was a misclick because of aiming rather than clenching, because I meant to click the end turn button. Well, I'm glad they've got a rookie up there. Oh, not there. Yeah, they must have been hiding in that room or something. What the hell? I don't know. The rocket people should be able to finish them off. Hold on, what the... 31 for an aim shot, but 14 for auto. Seems poorly balanced. There we go. Last one. In that case, my guess is that there's a hole in the top of that room with the chair in it, and those must be aliens from the top floor coming down. which I think would make sense. And they take off immediately after the Interceptors leave. Cheeky bugger. So we've got a good number of sergeants. What am I researching? Heavy plasma, alright, that's good. I'll try to send one from North America. That was Jinx. Didn't say, oh, it sure would be bad if a terror ship showed up in North America, but what do you know, I send away the one Interceptor station there, and then appears a terror ship. Still want to keep them going, because Hawaii is conveniently quite close to the US. I didn't check where they were. Still, it was probably good to shoot them down because they weren't going to go to a better place like the Arctic. They were going to leave the atmosphere soon, I think. I'll shoot them down over the water. Terror ships are a pain to deal with. Right, good. Need to check on my missile stock around the place. That's North America, they don't have any. Buy them lots. They don't have many. They have a good number. Although they will have just used 6 of them, I think. Wait, no, they would have used 12, because there were 2 Interceptors. It's 3 Avalanche missiles per pod. And each Interceptor has 2 pods on it. If I remember the maths correctly. Yeah, I know, I just ordered them. Right. What's the time? Again. Supply ship. Where are they going? Central Asia. Intercept from Antarctica. Though they'll probably be too fast for anyone to get to. And that was a real nice intercept route, eh? Ah yes, the Middle East is in Central Asia, because Asia is this big continent, and that's the centre of it. What, hold on, what aliens are they? They're floaters. So I'll probably kill that base, once I get a squad that's just a bit better trained. Which will probably be next episode, but still in the same recording session. Oh, good. Retaliation. Not had one of them in a while. Sent an interceptor from East Asia, because they'll probably be going in the North Africa direction, but East Asia just needs the interceptors less. Now that is quite a big blind spot, but I suppose it doesn't really matter that much. Because, you know, UFOs won't be landing there. And when they're flying, I can see them before they get there, usually. Little UFO. Now I've got a little game review. I've been playing aside from this, I found a game called Astronauts, I think. Basically it's a game, kind of reminds me of Barotrauma, but in space. You can build your own spaceship, though usually you find derelicts that are partially built, or you can just buy one at the start of the game. You buy your ship. But yeah, you can do stuff, you can move cargo, you can salvage, you can do like criminal, like murder investigations, all these kinds of stuff. And I've been doing salvage and it's pretty fun, but the progression takes a while, and I'm not really sure what you're meant to do past a certain point. Like, you can get money to get a good ship and like a crew and stuff, but then what do you do after that? It's not like I was saying, like Barotrauma, which is like FTL. Unlike either of those, it doesn't have an obvious like endpoint. You know, you're not travelling on a map to get somewhere. You just need to get more money, which is kind of a bad goal, I think. But yeah, like, it's not very enticing. But still, I've been having fun playing the game. That seems pretty well impossible to make the kind of money you need, because I've been, like, finding really good big wrecks to salvage, and still only making, like, $15,000 per wreck, which really isn't that much. Although it is pretty good considering I'm doing that in, like, a couple of hours in real time, which, you know, in the real world, if I were making $15,000 in 2 hours, I would be very happy. But it's less good in the game, where you need to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy your next spaceship. Although I will say, those spaceships are pretty cheap. Scout doing terror. It's weird. I feel like I've said that exact sentence many times before, but I don't remember when. I think they're on open ground, so I'll just shoot them down here. Yep. That'll be a half-decent training mission, I think. I think this will be the last mission in this episode. give the rocket launch to someone else, because this guy has not the best weight capacity. Someone with 39, yeah, this guy. That all seems good. It's a bloody farm. I've grown to disdain these farm missions. I think it's by far the worst terrain type. Even worse than cities, I'd say, because at least city, the entire thing is closed quarters. Close quarters, so you can at least use like one strategy for the entire map. Whereas the farm, it's kind of switching between big open areas like the cornfield and these like meadows, and then all these buildings and stuff, which are just a pain in the arse. That means you have to constantly be transitioning between different troop formations if you want to be effective. Or you just stick with one, accept some like vulnerability, which is what I do. I just tend to keep the more spread out formations that are better in close quarters. But the downside of that is that if I'm going up against something like the terror ships or the abductors that have a decent number of aliens, they can all just dogpile on by 1 or 2 unit groups and kill them and then move on to the next one. But I need to do that to not be vulnerable to grenades. They can mess stuff up a lot faster. Guessing there won't be that many aliens. That was quite short processing time. AI turn. But yeah, astronauts, it's quite fun, I think. I've sunk 9 hours into it in the last 2 days that I've been playing it. It's also got an, I'll say, interesting graphic style. It's not really to my liking. Some people may like it. I've read online that some people struggle to distinguish between the different sprites, because I haven't had that problem. For reference, I'll say, for those of you that maybe don't want to Google or whatever, there's some birds going off. Anyway, for those of you that don't want to Google it, the art style, it's kind of, 2D sprites and stuff. But they're really not that detailed sprites, which is kind of fitting for the, non-utopian space. I won't say dystopian, but non-utopian sci-fi stuff. It has the kind of browny grey colour palette, and you know, it was all the rage in games in the 2000s and stuff. But then you combine that with not too detailed sprites, and it's legitimately quite... There's very little contrast between different objects on the same tile. Like, you know, you can have some wires in the walls and like a wall and a poster and a fuster, and they're very difficult to tell apart. And people have said that online, and that's a valid criticism, but like, I'll move back. Hopefully the alien doesn't follow. Anyway, that's valid criticism, but I think, like, you can just right-click on the tile and see what's there. Like, you may not be able to tell what things are, but you'll be able to see that there are multiple things there. Action far. Anyway, you'll be able to see that there's multiple things there, so you can just right-click on the tile and see what they actually are, so that's not that big of a problem to me. But what I think is that the art style just doesn't look that nice. Like, it's certainly functional, although not to the utmost degree, but it just doesn't look nice. Because, like, I think a good space game, for one thing, it should be kind of plain, I think is the right description. Like, you shouldn't have overly detailed things in most space games and stuff. I think Battletron is actually quite a good example of that. It sometimes has more kind of detailed backgrounds, but most of the game actually looks very simple. Like most of the background in the sea, for instance, when you're in a cave, is a good example. The background's basically just rock, and kind of grey rock, which makes the colourful things that are usually your objectives, like ores or monsters or stuff, it contrasts them well against the background. Whereas in Astronauts, if you're looking for some good salvage, spread like on top of the grey mottled floors, they're pretty well impossible to tell apart without right-clicking. But also it just doesn't look that nice because it's too overly detailed. I think in a space game, it's good to actually focus on the space, not really intricate interiors and stuff. That's one thing Station is. It's nothing like Battletron or Astronauts. It's kind of a... Well, really, it's a tech demo more than a game in its current state. But, it's a game about building kind of a space base and getting all the systems and stuff working there. It has a very good appearance, I would say, a very good aesthetic. Probably part of it is because, well, a big part of it is because it's 3D, but it's very easy to tell things apart, mostly because things are differently coloured. Like, it's got a lot more colour, it's just not all brown and grey. But also, nothing in Stationeers looks too detailed. It's all kind of plasticky looking, I would say, which I think is a lot better for a space game than kind of grungy stuff. Save all that grunge for Factorio or Call of Duty or stuff. The space games, it's better to have a more pristine looking environment, or if not pristine, then at least not detailed, I think is better. But regardless, one thing I do like about Astronauts is that the environment is 2D, but the characters are 3D. Which is a very minor thing, but I do think it looks quite nice. And it kind of reminds me to an extent of Project Zomboid. Although Project Zomboid has the isometric view of the environment. Astronauts is just top down, but they have the same kind of thing where it's like 3D rigged characters. And come to think of it, the characters actually do look quite similar, like they're a similar level of detail. They kind of look like they're the Sims 1 characters. And that is another thing people have said online. They've said the game's kind of like Sims in space, which right now I think more of the focus is on the salvage, but they've definitely got infrastructure there that could make it more like that in the future. And I just remembered that I had these people waiting back here. Anyway, despite my rambling about its faults, I do think it's generally a pretty good game, as evidenced by the fact I've sunk 9 hours into it in 2 days. And yeah, I would recommend... I would say, personally, it would be good if, probably in like a year or something, it will have improved a lot, is what I suspect. Although that's similar to Stationeers. I bought Stationeers back in 2017, and it has been constantly improving since then. They've been adding new features, revising old ones to make them better, and yet it's still a tech demo. So, well, it's a tech demo claiming that it's a game. So, the thinking that gameplay will always get better with time is not necessarily the truth, but bad features pretty much always get better with time, I find. But the problem with gameplay is that a lot of people make games like this, like Astronauts and Stationeers, and help people make games like XCOM, although there's less of a thing in strategy games. They often tend to be more of the technical kind of people, like with strategy games, for instance. There are lots of software developers and stuff that like to play strategy games and logistics games, like Factorio and Satisfactory, because they tend to be more logical people, and these are very logical games, so it lets them, flex their muscles, essentially. But also, the developers of these games, or rather the developers are always the same, like the programmers, they're always those logical people, but the game designers of these games tend to be more logical people as well, like the kind of people who would be a developer, and very often on the small studio games, the game developer and the programmer are exactly the same person. Which means that very often the games end up feeling like a tech demo rather than a game, because they have all these cool features that they want to add, and they are cool features, like Astronauts, Stationeers, even Satisfactory. I would say, though, Satisfactory is quite good in its progression. They all have lots of cool features that aren't really needed, but particularly like Stationeers and Astronauts. All those cool features, but not really having a core gameplay loop, or not having a very good one, it makes them feel like tech demos to me. And I think to a decent number of other people, they get the same impressions. But yeah. That is the price you pay. If you want cool simulating kind of games, very often the gameplay loop degrades. One game that I do think is alright in this regard is Duval Valley. I've played that quite a lot. So I like trains. And it does have a lot of tech demo stuff. It's got very good, like, detailed simulations of the trains. But it also has a pretty decent gameplay loop. Like, I would say it's similar to Astronauts, actually, like that. The gameplay loop is basically just doing the same thing over and over to get money. But the difference is that Derail Valley, there's more diversity within that same thing. On Astronauts, in big part because of its grungy look, I think, but also because it's a pretty new game, the ships that you're salvaging really don't feel that different at all. They're all pretty similar. Most of them are just kind of... They seem as if they've, like, blown up or rusted away over time, rather than being, like, whole ships. And yeah, they all just kind of look grungy and black, and, looks like no aliens. Nope, there was one hiding in the smoke. Yeah, they look grungy and they look black, and, they're all just very similar, and like the ones I've encountered, apparently there are meant to be risks in them. Like, I think sometimes you can find hostile NPCs. I've never experienced that, but yeah, they all feel very similar, and that makes the gameplay loop a bit boring. To contrast, Hardspace Shipbreaker, the ships in there feel very different. Even though, they have discrete ship classes, and you can see what those classes are, there are enough classes, and they do all feel pretty different, because, they can have different furniture and stuff on the inside. Hard Space Shipbreaker implements the same kind of gameplay loop. And I would say it is actually the same gameplay loop as Astronauts. And if anything, Astronauts has a more detailed gameplay loop than Hard Space Shipbreaker, with more diverse content. But Hard Space Shipbreaker feels like a better gameplay loop, and it feels more diverse just because the one task that you are doing has a wider range of options, essentially. Whereas, in Astronauts, you can salvage ships, or you can carry freight, or you can build new ships. But those ships that you are building or salvaging, and those freight runs, they all feel completely identical, which does degrade from the gameplay loop. Anyway, that's my monologue game review over. Hope you enjoyed that rambling, as well as my half-focused, mission. So we'll finish that episode there, and we'll see you in the next one.